I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. Let's address the topic that I'm sure everyone's chomping at the bit to talk about right now, and that is what's the latest on the frost situation. And, well, what's really kind of interesting here is that the midday models have backed off the southern push of the coldest air, and you know what? They've actually shifted it farther to the east. I'm looking at some differing pushes of the coldest part of the air mass across the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes and through the northern plains. To me, I don't think I want to change my overall forecast in terms of what the bottom might be with regard to temperatures in this air mass, but I do look for the coldest air probably to stay farther north. I don't really think that we want to jump too hard off the deep end with this forecast just yet. I am really interested to see what the models do over the weekend. So basically, from what we have right now through Monday morning, we will have several more model run sets, and one that I really look at, the 0Z model run that comes out tonight. And we will have two runs that I really want to look at tomorrow. We'll have two runs that I really want to look at on Sunday. So there are 5 model runs that I'm going to pay very close attention to on the part of the GFS. And then my model of choice, actually, when it comes to colder outbreaks, the European, I've got 2 runs yet today. One that will be initiating and should be finalized here in the next hour to hour and a half. Then one tonight. We'll have 2 runs tomorrow and 2 runs on Sunday. So I'm actually looking at 6 more model runs over the next few days that I'm going to look at between now and Monday morning. That's when I'm going to actually put out exactly the line where I think frost is going to be an issue and where it is not. Up to this point, we've been urging a conservative approach. It will be cool, no doubt about that. It will be chilly. And I'm also saying some light frost can pop up in places like western North Dakota, maybe into Montana. But in terms of the Corn Belt area, I've been reluctant to jump off the deep end like everybody and their brother has. And again, I'll criticize some of these 25-degree temperature readings that we've been hearing some folks put out. It's interesting. Haven't seen a map showing that for a couple of days now. But in any case, we're going to look at our premier frost forecast coming out of these models as we go into Monday morning, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, with no significant or mind-blowing change in the cold air coming, and actually maybe a little bit of a retreat to the north, we're going to step back and take a look at moisture here over the next week to 2 weeks to see what we've got coming. And you know what? We still have some timely moisture coming. Overall, the pattern looks like it's going to be front-loaded with moisture, so the front that's trying to move through now through, let's just say, tomorrow midday, and then the front that ushers in the cool air next week. That's when the best moisture chances are going to be developing. The end of the forecast period still looks drier to me, but a lot of people are saying that's honestly kind of what we need at this point, warmer and drier, or drier and maybe a bit warmer. So that's what we're going to be keying in on. Let's talk about the front right now that extends basically from Milwaukee back through the Quad Cities to Kansas City to Wichita to Amarillo, Texas. That front, a very active front. We're seeing lots of heat come up ahead of it. Hearing lots of talk across places like eastern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio about heat advisories being issued, mostly due to the fact that we've got humidity high, and so heat indexes are pushing 100. Actual air temperatures staying in the upper 80s to near 90. But still, plenty of heat coming in along the front. And what I find interesting is all the action is waiting to fire off at the frontal boundary itself or behind. So, for example, we've seen showers and storms move across Iowa already today. Showers and storms are moving across parts of Kansas. They're moving slowly as the front moves. Into this afternoon, I think we're going to continue to see that. I do not see this being a scenario where we see action firing off well in advance of the cold front. It's going to take that wind shift, that line of demarcation to get things going. And I can tell you, it is a spectacular line of demarcation. You can actually feel the temperatures dropping in a hurry along the front. This is a front that I liken to what we see a lot of times in spring. You know, a good sharp line where you had very warm air in front of it, cool air behind it, and there's a major issue. That's what I think we're looking at. So I'm going to be more interested to see where the line of thunderstorms wants to fire off this afternoon into this evening. Still think we're looking at probably 0.5 to 1 inch rainfall totals over about 60%, 70% of the Corn Belt. We will see some areas that get missed just purely because we're talking mostly thunderstorms here. Better areas might end up being seen for precipitation in parts of Missouri as the slower line moves in and central Illinois, but we'll just have to watch that. After this gets out of here, the rest of the weekend then should be dry. So as the front moves through, we should clear relatively quick behind it. I'm looking for a dry Sunday and probably a dry Monday as well. Then the next frontal boundary, the next system starts to work into the western Corn Belt early next week. It's somewhat disjointed, disorganized early Tuesday morning around 6 a.m., but we'll start to put down some better rains over western parts of Iowa, northern Missouri, and then we'll try and translate that eastward across the rest of the Corn Belt, but it'll probably take a couple of days on into Thursday. There will be some areas of heavier thunderstorm action, specifically in between the I-80 and I-70 corridors, and that leads us to continue to say 1/2 to 2 inch rainfall totals with coverage about 60%, but I don't want to rule out the occasional 3-inch band that's in there either. The front finally clears the area probably as we go through Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and that's when the cool air will start to funnel in. It will not be a bam, immediate kind of scenario, but rather a slow sag of the cold air. We're probably going to be seeing the coldest morning develop probably Saturday morning. I think it's too soon to say that it's going to be the coldest morning Friday morning. I think it's going to be Saturday over the Corn Belt. Friday probably in the northern plains, and at this point it really looks like it's going to be a Great Lakes area kind of event, if anything, and still we do not see any temperatures going below the freezing mark. Most of them want to bottom out in that mid to upper 30s range, so light frost, yes, but again on Monday morning we'll put out our line of demarcation and go right forward with it from there. Definitely want to see what these weekend models do. My concern is that we have the models that are getting a little overzealous on the cold air, not taking into account things like surface temperatures, the soil profile temperature, things like moisture, what happens if we get heavier rains in there, like we're expecting over parts of the western and northwestern Corn Belt. All of these things can change the forecast in those microclimates, even just a couple of degrees. And at this point, a couple of degrees is all you need. A couple degrees warmer, we have no story here whatsoever. So that's what we're looking at here at midday. Otherwise, no significant changes. The extended forecast period still looks drier. Next chance of rain right around the 19th, 20th. If you've got any questions in the meantime, give us a shout at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.